So welcome to the Pharmaceutical Engineering Information Session. I'm Joy Pang, one of the faculty members part of the Pharmaceutical Engineering program here at SIT. So in today's talk, I will be introducing to you the Pharmaceutical Engineering program, as well as to give you some insights into what we offer, should you choose to enroll in our program. So hopefully by the end of today's talk, you will be better informed as to whether this program is aligned to your interests as well as to your future career goals. So to begin, I would like to spend a short time introducing SIT as a university first. So SIT is Singapore's University of Applied Learning. We offer students an industry-focused education here at SIT. We were established in 2009, which makes us more than 10 years old now. And we were granted autonomous status in 2014, making us the 5th autonomous university in Singapore, after NUS, NTU, SMU, and SUTD. So our mission is to nurture and develop individuals who build on their interests and talents to impact society in meaningful ways. So first of all, let's talk about what pharmaceutical engineers do. So I think a lot of us, we are familiar with what doctors do. When you're sick, you go and see a doctor, the doctor makes a diagnosis, and then he gives you a prescription for some drugs. So after seeing the doctor, you would generally go to the pharmacy, where you would meet a pharmacist. He would then look at the prescription given to you by the doctor and then dispense the medicine to you to take home. So now where do pharmaceutical engineers come in this big picture? Now, pharmaceutical engineers actually create and manufacture drugs. So all the drugs that you see in the pharmacy or at the doctor's clinic, they were once upon a time created by pharmaceutical engineers in labs and in manufacturing plants all over the world. So to kick off today's presentation, let's look at the industry demand for the pharmaceutical industry right here in Singapore. So pharma growth in Singapore has been increasing steadily over the years and is predicted to continue to grow in Singapore. So the biomedical sector in Singapore has been in the news quite a bit. Our government has pledged to continue supporting this sector. In 2006, our government pledged $4 billion to fund research as well as commercialization activities in the biomedical field in Singapore. And the Straits Times has also reported that the Singapore pharma sector has been playing an increasingly important role in the manufacturing scene in Singapore. Also, we are seeing more and more investments in the deep tech sector, which includes the pharma manufacturing sector right here. And so far, Singapore has done very well and has shown itself to be a world leader in medical manufacturing. More recently in the news, just in May 2020, right when we were deep in the COVID crisis, Channel News Asia reported that Singapore's manufacturing output was up 13% in April, and it was mostly boosted by the biomedical sector. Major pharma facilities have set up manufacturing plants right here in Singapore. Most of them are located in the Tuas area. So BD, Amgen, GSK, MSD are just some examples of big global pharma companies that have set up best-in-class manufacturing plants in our country. And some of you may not know, but blockbuster drugs are being made in Singapore in these manufacturing plants. So over here on this slide, I show the big drug companies bolded, as well as the drugs, the blockbuster drugs that they make right here in Singapore. So generally speaking, blockbuster drugs are drugs that bring more than $1 billion US dollars in revenue to the company. So Singapore is doing quite a lot in this area. So since 2000, the pharmaceutical sector's manufacturing output has increased by 3 times, and there have been more than 6,000 people employed in the biopharma sector. Now, 8 out of the top 10 pharma companies have global manufacturing facilities in Singapore, and among them, they manufacture 4 of the top 10 drugs by global revenue. And as mentioned earlier, $4 billion has been pumped into funding research activities as well as commercialization activities in the health and biomedical sector here in Singapore. On top of that, there has also been increasing manpower demand in this sector. So should you decide to get a degree in this field, then things are looking optimistic for you. So the biopharma industry is a growing industry. Within the manufacturing sector right here in Singapore, biomedical manufacturing is the second largest contributor in terms of value addedness when we consider the value of the goods and services each worker contributes to the company. So let's move on to what our program aims to offer. So in our program, we integrate life science and chemistry with engineering principles, coupled with hands-on lab practicals, as well as industrial exposure during your time as a student with us. So we do train students in a full spectrum of pharma drug manufacturing competencies. So in our degree program, we offer 2 specialization tracks, all right, that you would choose. You could potentially choose the biologics specialization track or the small molecule drug specialization track. So biologics are generally protein or carbohydrate based. They are large molecules and they are produced in living cells. So an example of a biologic that many of you would be familiar with is insulin. Small molecule drugs, on the other hand, are synthetic. They are low in molecular weight. They are produced by chemical synthesis. And an example would be Panadol, which I'm sure many of you have taken. So in our program, we train our students in interdisciplinary topics. Our classes are very industry-focused and application-oriented. You would notice, as I will show later on, that many of our classes have lab components in them. And through our curriculum, our hope is that our students develop deep specialization skills that make them practice-oriented and industry-ready when they graduate, so as to begin right off the track when they get their first job. Now, how do we structure our curriculum? So we partner with pharmaceutical companies. We have a committee that we work with, the Biopharmaceutical Manufacturers Advisory Committee, that is made up of many large drug companies that have facilities in Singapore. We also have an industrial alignment committee that works with our program to give us feedback on the knowledge as well as the skill set that are valued by the industry so that we can design our curriculum to train students to be industry ready when they go out to work. Now over here, I show the program structure of the pharmaceutical engineering program. The classes that have been boxed out in red are classes that offer lab practical sessions. So you do have a hands-on component in all the classes that are boxed out in red. And as you can see, there are quite a number of classes that have labs in our program. The other thing I wanted to point out here are the classes that are highlighted in blue font. So these are the classes that are specialization classes that ensure that our students are industry ready and have the skill set ready for them to tackle real world problems in companies when they go out. So you might notice that there is a 1 trimester break shown in green. And in this break, many students choose to do internships. Some students have chosen to go overseas for overseas exposure programs, and I will talk about that later. You will also notice that 2 of the trimesters are called IWSP plus capstone, so I will talk about that later on too. IWSP is our internship program, and all our students who are part of our program do go out for an 8-month-long internship. So what are the key program features of the SIT pharmaceutical program? We are the first pharmaceutical engineering undergraduate degree program in Singapore, and our curriculum is strongly driven by industry demand. We have very strong industry alignment and relevance. As mentioned before, we do meet up with the industry on a regular basis, okay, and update our curriculum from year to year. We have a structured work-study program in industry for 8 months. This is a key hallmark and a compulsory feature in SIT conferred degree programs. And also we have optional overseas training exposure, which I will also highlight in the coming slides. So in previous years, our students who have participated in the Overseas Exposure Program have been to countries in Asia, in Europe, and in the United States. In general, feedback has been very positive about such overseas exposure programs, and students do enjoy themselves a lot and learn a lot through these programs. For example, when they went to California in the US, they were able to visit a large drug company there, Genentech. They were also able to visit the US Patent Office, which was quite meaningful to our students. So now I'll go on to talk about our Integrated Work-Study Program, or IWSP, which you might have heard this term being thrown out a lot when you have attended other info sessions here at SIT. Our students pick up skills, knowledge, and attitudes in school while they take their classes, right? As mentioned earlier, SIT is a university of applied learning, and many of our classes are very, very industry-focused. So now the students take the knowledge that they have attained in school and they go out into industry for this 8-month-long internship where they work in real job settings and tackle real-world problems. So the IWSP is a work attachment for 8 months. When I say work attachment, students actually go through the same process as they would when they find real jobs. So they would go out, look at different job advertisements from different companies that have committed to participate in our IWSP program. They would get selected for interviews. They would then go for the interview and are able to select from opportunities offered to them. So IWSP is a credit-bearing module. They do get a grade for that. And students work in real jobs as well as projects in industry. So some of the learning objectives that we hope that students meet from the IWSP program. First of all, students should pick up career as well as professional skills through the IWSP program. So when they are working in the companies, they get to interact with other pharmaceutical engineers, other engineers in the company. They pick up career skills as well as professional skills in work setting. They are also able to integrate knowledge as well as practice during the IWSP internship. During this internship, students have 2 supervisors, one in the university, which would be a faculty supervisor, and another one in the company, which would serve as an industry supervisor. Between the 2 supervisors and the student is able to integrate the knowledge picked up in school with the practice they are carrying out doing their job in the company. And finally, we hope that our students pick up innovation skills through the IWSP program. During the IWSP trimesters, students do return to campus for a day to attend the design thinking skills workshops so that they can go back to their companies with better training on how to solve problems in the companies. At Pharmaceutical Engineering, the students also have to do what we call a capstone project, where they identify problems that they see in the company and have to propose solutions based on engineering principles that they have picked up in school. So what can the IWSP do for you as a student in our program? It can potentially secure a full-time employment for you prior to graduation. This has certainly been the case for some of our previous graduates. You can also potentially attain a higher grade level upon employment, sometimes in the same company, sometimes in a different company. And of course, during your internship in the company, you will very likely acquire deep specialist skills that companies are looking for. And at the same time, it's not really only for the company to evaluate the student, but the student also has the opportunity to be in the company and evaluate the company as a potential future permanent employer. So these have been some of our past and present IWSP partners. If you're familiar with the pharma landscape, you would be able to recognize many names on this slide right here. We have many large drug companies that have facilities in Singapore that have signed up to be our IWSP partners and have taken in our students year after year. So what is the industrial relevance of attaining a pharmaceutical engineering degree? Well, it's one big biopharma industry, but many opportunities. So students have been offered all kinds of internship positions or all kinds of jobs upon graduation, from research and development to process development. Some of them have gone to become biotechnologists or work as engineers on the manufacturing plant floor. So really the opportunities are limitless. These are just some of the job titles that have been offered in our IWSP program previously, and also some of the job titles that some of our previous graduates have gone on to upon graduation. So there are many companies that have CEOs, many drug companies who have CEOs who are engineers. 33% of S&P 500 CEOs undergraduate degrees are in engineering. So engineering in general trains a lot of critical thinking skills. As you see, our degree program is called Pharmaceutical Engineering. So you will obtain a degree in engineering at the end of this program. And in general, prospects for engineering degree holder are bright. All right, so finally, let's talk more about the career prospects of a pharmaceutical engineer in Singapore. So in general, workers in the biomedical engineering field, pharmaceuticals, do enjoy attractive remuneration. Based on past years' data, our graduates from SIT have been earning on par salaries with graduates from NUS as well as NTU who come from very similar degree programs at those universities. All right, and I just wanted to end off and say that although our program offers you a degree in pharmaceutical engineering, getting a degree in this field does not limit you to only the pharma sector. There are many other relevant industries that a pharmaceutical engineer can contribute to. So for example, the fine chemical industry, the food industry, and the life science industry are just examples of other industries that our students have entered upon graduation. So I've come to the end of the information session. I hope this talk has been informative for you and will help you better make a decision whether what our program offers is aligned with your interests as well as your career goals. And if it does, I hope to see you later this year in the pharmaceutical engineering program. Thank you.